Knowledge is temporary. Education is forever. This is a razor for a fallacy I guarantee you thought at one point. Everyone has. It's now almost a cliche for Jacob to groan out in class, when are we going to use trigonometry in the real world? You might have asked or heard this in other forums, like why are we learning about frog anatomy? Why are we doing by hand what a TI Inspire can do in a picosecond? Why are we studying literature written 400 years ago? These are really just examples of the more unrefined question, why do we go to school? In whatever form, this is probably something you've moaned at 6 a.m. before hitting snooze on your alarm clock, or whined aloud in class after you've been told about an upcoming project. Have you ever noticed how we just move on from that? Have a little self-awareness and appreciate that it's almost comedic. There's raw and utter bitterness in some of these moments where we curse the world for being so arbitrary and forcing us to do something we, on the surface, see absolutely no merit in, like take a test on polyatomic ions. And all the huffing and puffing and the messages to our friends about how we're no-cap thin a skirt culminate, without fail, in nothing. We never really ponder it. We just move on. At worst, we fantasize about running away and nothing more. People offer up critical thinking as an intangible quality that school is supposed to hone in on, so sure, we as supposedly nearly matured students can deduce the bond angle of ammonia just fine, but we tend to just cast away these questions without another thought as nothing more than jokes to share with our peers to ease the pain of our arduous toil and perpetual grind, if only slightly. There's no critical thinking. I would even say a majority of us subconsciously answer this grand question with, because we have to. And we think that because school not only attempts to instill critical thinking skills, but also a respect for authority. Some even say that a mission of mandatory public education is to prepare students to obey the legal rules of society. To clarify, I am and will be talking about compulsory education up to and including high school. I described this as a grand question a second ago because this institution is our lives. It does not rule our lives, it is what we do day in and day out for our formative years. We develop memories and conscious thought and become aware of the larger world around us, only to see that salt and pepper ceiling tiles and ominously flickering fluorescent lights have been looming above since the very beginning. For 6 to 8 hours each day, we're trapped in these walls, authority drilled into us so hard, the majority of students don't even entertain the idea of dropping out. As an example of this, the most mind-boggling thing to look back on is that most of us just accepted without even a whimper of protest that some random adults with academic degrees can exert autocratic control over when or if we can even go to the bathroom. So what's the point in wondering why? Why analyze the tunnel if we really only need to see the end? We'll get through it eventually, and whether we graduate or not, a job of some sort is likely either way, so why? Well, I don't really have anything better to do. And you know what? I have nothing to hide anymore. You guys know I'm a degenerate school-pilled sheep, and though I have briefly thought and brushed off this question like everyone else before, the real inspiration for making this video came from a nagging of something much more condescending and pedantic, as you might expect from me. I promise I'll bring this back to the original question, trust me. I joined Science Ball my senior year of high school, and if Ryan, Jared, or anyone else from that club happens to be watching, you guys know I did not do anything. The one competition I went to, I did not answer a single question myself. I would say that's more because I hate competition, confrontation, and speaking over other people. But that still wouldn't matter if I drew anything but a blank when I was asked which enzyme controls the winding or unwinding of DNA strands. The problem was, my bio knowledge was 2 years old at that point, old enough to build 6 to 7 block towers and kick a ball. That's the lighthearted, self-deprecating segue into the much more subtle melancholy that I hadn't even realized was creeping up and growing in intensity as high school went on. It started when I took 2 years of biology, capping off with a 5 in AP Bio, same for chemistry and kinda same for physics, but though I try and help my old high school friends taking physics in college, I can tell I'm eventually going to look back at my works and despair that nothing beside remains as I've forgotten nearly everything. I've given you my humiliating anecdote already, so allow me to toot my own horn. I sort of feel that I've gone from, at the height of each course, able to at best pick up a low-stakes learning-focused internship in some of these scientific fields, or at the very least I was able to teach their classes. But now, I look at old AP practice problems and I wonder how I even have the same hands that wrote the answers to those questions, obviously disregarding my drill hand replacement surgery, of course. On top of the question at the beginning of the video, I also began to wonder, what's the point of all this then if we're just gonna forget it anyway? Sure, we'll get our college credit, but what I'm getting at, I imagine, really hits hard for people who either love learning or put their pride in intelligence. It'll all leave your brain inevitably. Now that I've convinced the viewer to care about the central theme of the video whether they don't see the point in school or care too much about it, I'm going to give my 2 cents as someone who arced from AP Scholar to Rona College freshman doomer that misses the days where I got more physical social interaction than just saying, "Good, how about you?" to the grocery store clerk once every 2 weeks. But seriously, I'm assuming most of you have clicked off by now, but if not, kick back and let my droning voice lull you into a daze with an impassioned, unique speech about why we go to school. After all, who doesn't care what a disembodied glue doge voice thinks? It would be naive to conclude that we wasted time in those courses or in school as a whole, because we won't and probably will forget everything we learn. Speaking of what we learn, one thing I've been told by English teachers is to avoid starting off with your strongest argument, but I think it's the simplest and most captivating, so I will anyway. You would fundamentally not be who you are without school, no question about it. Now, if I were you, I'd say that this is a fallacy. I like to think that no matter what, I will be me forever and always. I just won't be the person I am now. But since essentially nothing can ever change the fact that I am who I am and you are who you are, there's no reason to worry about school making us a different person, because technically, if you think about it, we are always becoming different people, perpetually, making the whole Western notion of unique identity and soul kind of problematic. Oh, sorry, my Buddhism and film class is starting to seep in, but you get the idea. I only digress to present the rebuttal that identity is arbitrary, which is something I think people need to hear anyway. Still, the counter-argument I'm trying to pose is missing the point. School is instrumental in the growth of your character in many hard-to-emulate ways. School is where you learn life. It's where you get acquainted with adversity, deadlines, the complex ebbs and flows of your motivation, and the horrible yet inevitable truth that you need to pick up where it lacks with discipline. You feel the pride of achievement and the stress of failure. You submerge yourself in the joys of friends and landing inside jokes. I know I'm going fast, but truly try to relish in the revelry. The joy of trying not to laugh while you whisper Burger King foot lettuce in your classmate's ear during lecture. You experience the subtle yet gradual realization that people in positions of power and authority are no more and no less human than you, and whether by your own accord or not, you interact with people your age that might have vastly different worldviews, that might hate you, that might serve as a foil to your own character and reflect your own flaws and immaturity. And chances are, school is where you've met your first friend, maybe even your first romantic interest. It's where you first dealt with someone annoying, and if you're bullied, you've had a chance to digest and address the fascinating psychology behind what drives such cruel behavior. And if not, then at least you've realized early on that some people are just inconsiderate, rude, and sometimes downright pugnacious, and oftentimes there's little you can do about the innate evil in humanity. School forces universal truths like these upon you, and the wide array of experiences strengthen and refine who you are as a person. From joking about foot lettuce to discovering your foot fetish to talking to the overzealous and entertaining the downright selfish. Ignoring more particular details and real-world nuance, it is hard to argue against the fact that this is simply a building that trains you on completing artificial tasks and learning artificial concepts, both with a safety net when compared to their real-world equivalents. And real-world equivalents, there are many. You probably aren't going to use trigonometry, but you're still benefiting from learning it. Let me explain. You test trigonometry with a definite, yet in the grand scheme, light punishment for failure, so you can deal with pressure and practice absorbing new skills. So when you realize your passion is nuclear engineering, you can use your honed learning ability to conquer that. You can feel less frustrated at a lack of understanding because you're used to the learning process. And when you do master it eventually, you know you've studied it well enough because we, as a country, trust you're not going to muck something up and turn New Jersey into a crater. Actually, that'd be kind of nice. And similarly, you practice social interaction when the consequences aren't that high. These are all basically simulations of what you'll have to pull off in the real world. If you think about it, school is pretty much the tutorial. The funny thing about this argument too is that I would say it's universal. A lack of funding, corruption, and controversy can't completely erode this basic purpose of education because it's largely an internal journey, and in some cases it's even accelerated by adversity. Even if you hoodie up and sit in the back of class and despise school, you're still forced to go and expose yourself to the simulation, or expose yourself at the very least to the fact that life is arbitrary and you will fall behind perpetually if you can only give it apathy. That's not a realization everyone reaches, I'll concede, but usually, eventually, it becomes apparent that shouting D's nuts at your teacher and drooling in the bathroom all day only gets you summer school. And now, a smooth segue. Fun fact, the word education derives from 4 main Latin roots, meaning to bring up or rise up, to lead out, to draw out of, and the act of teaching or training. It's evocative less of a pupil finding their way forward, or even the process of developing marketable skills. Instead, it sounds more like a benevolent nourishing, almost a resolute grooming. Pupil, similarly, used to have the same meaning as ward, a minor whose whole upbringing has been delegated to a third party by their parents, or a court. Now that's a cheesy, hackneyed tactic comparing the origins and semantics of a word to its wildly different modern-day usage, but I find it a bit too appropriate here. I don't think I even need to make a case and develop my claim. The definitions imply everything that needs to be said. But I will say this. School accelerates maturation and growth. We all have potential and it brings out what is already there, the best and the worst, and it's pretty darn good at that. And I'm not saying you'll never grow or never truly become acquainted with yourself without education, but it certainly helps. It really is like accelerated parenting. Here's another smooth segue. I was homeschooled for a year in middle school for reasons you probably don't care about, but you probably already assumed I was homeschooled at one point, judging by the fact that I made a Burger King foot lettuce joke in late 2020. So I hope that gives me the right to say there's a reason homeschooled children are stereotyped so hard. If you've been agreeing with everything I've said so far, you'll realize as I did that it's hard to argue against the logical conclusion that a physical school is so conducive to growth because of a wide array of social exposure like encountering conflict, true friendship, romance, bullying, and challenging arbitrary authority, then homeschool is to some degree less effective in the development of students, socially at the very least. I'm not naive enough to assume that all homeschooled children are Amish, isolated, sheltered, and coddled. There's some parents out there who are diligent with pushing their children outside of their comfort zones, and it works and they end up fine. But homeschooling really encapsulates what I'm trying to convey about education. I don't think I'm really going out on a limb here when I say that not only does poorly executed homeschooling, the products of which are notorious in modern culture, highlight how beneficial typically physical compulsory education is in the mental development of the general public, but also that social interaction, especially when it's forced and diverse, is a key factor in this difference. But again, just so I don't get mean comments, I will say it can be done right. And yes, I ought to give the obvious answer. There is merit to algebra, to knowing how to use commas correctly, to understanding at a fundamental level how the body works. Maybe not beyond that, but instead of elaborating on this simple answer you've heard 1,000 times before, let me make a final, optimistic case about education just for you. Humanity is known as a species mostly for two things, I think. We are social creatures, and we are curious. School is how we satiate both of these desires from a young age, but I want to focus on curiosity now. When it's executed correctly, and sure, it often isn't, but when it's done right and you're on pace and you have a healthy amount of engaging work to do, school's a system we've devised to simply tickle our forever inquisitive brains on a species-level scale and keep our minds fresh. Even if you've grown up in a suburb and the most adversity you've ever known is an annoying teacher giving you a difficult test in your well-funded high school, I'm willing to bet that you still don't see any merit in what I'm saying about curiosity. But truth be told, even if education is done well, we still have a tendency to reject this appeal. But there's a reason education channels reach a combined hundreds of millions of views and subscribers. Channels like 3 Blue 1 Brown, Smarter Every Day, CGP Grey, Numberphile, well, really any of Brady's channels, Historia Civilis, Invicta, Vsauce, Real Engineering, TED Ed, Amoeba Sisters, Veritasium, Practical Engineering, Mythologer, and the list goes on and on and on. Usually, the comment sections on most of their videos guarantee at least one person saying, "Why aren't my teachers like this?" Barring the fact that these channels are all run by exceptional rare people, I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that we don't even try to see the values in topics just as engaging that happen to be delivered by PowerPoint rather than YouTube video. Many people have this preconceived notion when they learn something new. It sounds something like, "I don't want to study this topic when I go to college, it's just so uninteresting." And just the fact of giving into this idea tends to hold these people back. It provides an excuse for total mental disengagement. It's not going to seem interesting if you've already decided it isn't worth your time or mental effort. But what I'm really trying to get at is that school tries to engage this universally human appeal by offering a wide array of ways to satiate our unwavering curiosity. I've been told a good way to end videos is with a call to action, so here goes nothing. Try not to let this preconception rule your life. Whether you're an overconfident, almost condescending high schooler like I was, or you're a college student grinding through gen ed, or you're a graduate with tunnel vision, remember that the world around you is infinitely complex. These YouTubers aren't just pulling from nothing. But more importantly, as far as this whole video goes, I want to conclude with something else, a bit broader if you'll allow a brief digression. Teenagers are infamous for thinking they know everything about the world, and it reminds me of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which typically applies more to fields of study than life, but I think it's an apt explanation for this. The effect says that people who learn a task, like aspiring musicians, artists, or scientists, tend to experience a brief, pronounced peak in confidence early in their respective studies, followed immediately by a massive dip as they realize they didn't even know the extent of what they didn't know. Everyone goes down this path. Students ask, when are we going to use trigonometry in the real world? Because they don't know how much they don't know. They feel confident and almost indignant in shouting this question because they're at the peak. And I wanted to now conclude with a plea for humility, to remember that you are in a cycle of perpetual growth, to look at things with a critical eye no matter how mundane, but I think that's a bit naive. It's hard to think that way at the peak of what every other Dunning-Kruger graph labels as Mount Stupid. So instead, at best, take this video essay like what school ought to be. Nothing more than a catalyst. Something you will undoubtedly forget every single word of, but might leave a lasting impact on you. It's like school in that way because, roll credits, knowledge is temporary, education is forever. And, at worst, if you feel you've gleaned nothing, at least you've entertained the ravings of a deranged, isolated college student. This video won't be promoted by the algorithm, so if you're watching this, you're probably subscribed already, so instead I'll just plug my Twitter and Bandcamp, I guess. You might ask, if this isn't going to be promoted by the algorithm, then why am I making this? Well, I think it's something that needed to be said, and even if I pull in far less viewers than I usually do, it'll probably make a difference in someone's life. So if you enjoyed it, give my insecure monkey brain positive feedback for making these by commenting down below. Thanks for watching.